Hello, friends. I'm your host, Dr. Dave Layton, and thank you for joining me on our journey to hope. This podcast is a place where together we explore how to discover, sustain, and sometimes regain hope. Wherever you're listening, let's take a deep breath, open our hearts, and continue this journey towards hope. And remember, no one walks alone.
Today's program is sponsored by Come and See Publications, helping people discover Christ through Bible-based books and resources for all ages. Visit comeandseepublications.com. Today's episode is titled Flat Tires and Flat Faith. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I had to practice that because saying flat tire and flat faith takes concentration. I challenge you. Say flat faith 3 times in a row. Fast. Okay. Well, let's get to the message. If you've traveled very much, especially by car, truck, and certainly RV, you already know something about flat tires. There are few things that interrupt a trip like a flat tire. You might be cruising down the highway with the sun shining, good music playing, maybe headed toward the mountains or the beach. Everything is going smoothly. And then suddenly you feel it. The steering changes. The vehicle starts pulling to one side. Maybe you hear that unmistakable thump, thump, thump of rubber that has lost its air. And just like that, your plans change. You safely pull over to the shoulder, turn on the hazard lights, and step out to expect what you already know is the problem. Somewhere along the road, something punctured your tire, or tread separated, or who knows what on today's interstates. Travelers learn something important over time. Flats happen. It might be a nail, a sharp rock, worn tread, or a slow leak that you didn't notice earlier. But eventually, every traveler experiences one. And in many ways, faith can go flat the same way. Have you ever thought about the slow leak, faith? Most people don't lose their faith all at once. It usually gradually happens. Faith slowly loses pressure. Maybe it begins with discouragement, prayer that seems unanswered, a disappointment you didn't expect. Maybe life simply becomes busy. Prayer becomes occasional. Scripture reading becomes rare. Worship becomes routine rather than refreshing. Little by little, the air leaks out. Just like a tire that looks fine at first, we may not notice the problem until the ride starts feeling rough. Our joy fades. Our confidence weakens. Our spiritual momentum slows down. Before long, we realize something just isn't right. Our faith feels flat. But here's the encouraging news. A flat tire does not mean the journey is over. It simply means it's time to stop and make a repair. Experienced travelers carry a few important tools: a jack, a lug wrench, and certainly a spare tire. Those tools make all the difference between being stranded and getting back on the road. In the same way, God has given believers the tools needed to restore spiritual strength, fellowship with other believers, Scripture, and time spent quietly in God's presence. When faith begins to lose pressure, those practices refill the soul. Sometimes the interruption itself carries a lesson. A flat tire forces us to slow down. It makes us stop moving long enough to assess what really happened. And spiritually speaking, God sometimes uses those moments too. An unexpected challenge, a delay in our plans, a difficult time. These moments can become invitations, an invitation to reconnect with Him, to examine the conditions of our hearts, to refill our faith with His promises. What first feels like a frustrating interruption may actually become a moment of renewal. Travelers often check tire pressure before a long trip. It's a simple step that prevents bigger problems down the road. And the same principle applies to faith. We should periodically check the conditions of our heart. Ask ourselves a few honest questions. Am I spending time with God? Am I staying connected to His Word? Am I walking closely with Him or simply coasting? Because faith wasn't designed to run on empty. God intends our hearts to be filled with hope, strength, and confidence in His promises. If your faith feels a little flat today, take heart. Doesn't mean the journey is finished. It simply means it's time to pull over spiritually and reconnect with the Lord. Spend some time in prayer. Open His Word. Allow Him to renew your strength. The road ahead is still waiting, and with renewed faith, you can continue traveling with purpose. A key verse really to think about is found in Hebrews chapter 12, verses 12 through 13. Therefore, strengthen the hands which hang down and the feeble knees, and make straight paths for your feet. Thank you for joining us on Our Journey to Hope. For more articles, videos, devotionals, books, and encouragement, visit ourjourneytohope.com. That's ourjourneytohope.com. I'm your host, Dave Layton. Until next time, remember, no one walks alone.